episode 41 of the Fit Pro podcast.
Now, if you're a personal trainer, be really damn good at being able to get results. That's where you need to start first. Don't think about ClickFunnels. Don't think about Facebook marketing. Don't think about pixels and remarketing and all of these things.
Hello, listeners. Before we get into today's episode, as always, a few words from your host, Marvin Fayers. I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody that has subscribed to the Fit Pro podcast lately. It means a lot seeing the numbers go up, as well as the response from the listeners. And if you have not already, make sure you head to facebook.com/fitpropod. Give us a big thumbs up. The numbers are growing there too. And yeah, guys, just an easier way to listen to your podcasts. If you're on an iPhone, make sure you go to the podcast app. It's pre-installed. Search Fit Pro Podcast, subscribe, and you will get these episodes on demand as they come out. Easy, simple, making your life simpler. If you're on an Android device, there's a few apps that you can use. Podcast Addict, it's also available on iOS. It's free. You can download it. You can listen to all your favorite podcasts. My favorites are the Fit Pro podcast, obviously, and Fighter and the Kid, Joe Rogan Experience. Those are a few of my favorites. Hardcore History, one of my favorites as well. Check it out, guys. Podcasts are so good. So much better than the radio. Listening to fucking the same shit over and over and over and over again. So, get into your podcast, listen to your podcasts, and listen to the show regularly. That being said, let's get into the show, guys, and today's episode is with Mario Paguio. Me and him go way back, so hopefully you enjoy this episode, and I will talk to you at the end. Welcome back to the Fit Pro podcast, listeners. I am your host, Marvin Fayers, and as always, we have a very special guest today on the show. We have Mario Paguio on. He's the founder of Fuel Your Facility, an all-round legend, and an avid cat lover. Mario, how are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing well. Thank you very much. What a beautiful introduction.
It's one of my better ones for sure, Mario. And look, today I just wanted to have a conversation with you. I just wanted the listeners to get to know you personally, because I've known you for years, and we've sort of grown up a little bit together. Mario, just let people know who you are personally, and then we will get into the show.
We really have, man. Well, I don't really know what to say about me, but basically I run Fuel Your Facility. I started it in October last year. I've been in coaching for about 3-4 years now. Actually about 5 years now. Started off with sales training, to NLP, to business coaching, and now still in the business coaching arena, but more focused in the marketing aspect of it, because I feel like every single time that I have conversations with fitness professionals, and I'm assuming you're one if you're listening to this, the biggest problem that they have is really down to finding the right people in front of you. And so I've really dialed in on that. So marketing is a massive passion of mine. So is cats. I'm pretty sure there's a huge correlation between the two. You always have a high click-through rate if there's a cat in the photo, I guess. And I don't know what else to say, Marvin.
That's a great intro to yourself. It's hard to top what I said, so I can totally understand there. But Mario, look, you're a founder of Fuel Your Facility. You haven't always been. When did you start that?
I started that in October last year, and prior to that, I was working for someone else in another business coaching company, and I've decided that I really wanted to niche down, because we were coaching at the time other coaches, predominantly in the personal development field, life coaches, relationship coaches, and then a small portion of that were personal trainers. And I realized that what really made me so happy was when I was deeply connected and helping the personal trainers. And I said, you know what? I believe that this is really my calling, and there are so much more that I can do with them. And I had the restrictions on my end on what I could do. So I decided to branch off. And yeah, so that's why I'm now, working on my own with one person here in Australia and another 6 people in the Philippines. So it's growing pretty fast. and I'm not expecting it to slow down anytime soon.
For sure, man. I'm always watching. I'm like Big Brother, so I'm always watching. And I see people making moves. I see people doing big things. You're definitely one of those people. Now, Mario, when it comes to obviously being a founder of a company now, and yeah, you do have people working for you, and this is obviously your way of generating revenue at the moment, correct?
Totally. This is my only focus right now. And I think it's really important to sort of talk about that in relation to fitness professionals as well. I think there's so many out there that are trying to go lateral instead of going deep. Trying to go, you know what, I'm going to focus on one-on-ones, I'm going to focus on groups, and then I'm going to have an online ebook, and I'm going to have online training as well, and all of these things. And sometimes you kind of just need to work with the one thing and get really good at that and be an authority with that. And when you systemize that, you can then scale that and then open up the next one. And I think that this is this is the discussion that's so important for me right now, where there's so many people out there trying to do 5 different things at once and then calling themselves quote unquote entrepreneurs, when really they've just got 5 part-time jobs. Because entrepreneurs have businesses that they've scaled. They don't touch that anymore, so that they open up the next one. And that's the real definition for me personally. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, man, because that is the definition. It's not working in 10 part-time gigs. And I find, I think you might have told me this, but it's the something shiny effect, where there's something shiny over there. Let me go over there, and then they'll get halfway through doing it, and then there's another shiny thing over there. Let me go over there, and I find that happens a lot with personal trainers, fitness professionals, people in the fitness space, because there is so many avenues you can go down. Now, look, that's where you're at now. But I want to dig a little bit deeper. Where do you come from? Where did this passion come from?
Man, this is a really interesting story because I don't really share it that often. But the reality is that when I was a lot younger, and I'm not doing this because I want for people to feel sorry for me, because I'm doing pretty well right now. But when I was a lot younger, in my teenage years, I was actually quite a fat kid. And because of that, it really affected my relationship with myself, in the sense that I would then, when I turned 18, I partied like crazy, and would go out from Wednesday all the way through to Sunday and doing some crazy stupid stuff, really endangering myself for the sake of escapism. And I continued to be overweight. I then went onto this downward spiral and started realizing that there needs to be so much more in my life. I literally had a fear of dying before I was 30, because I was going out so much, and I was partying like crazy, and I would spend so much money on the weekend trying to recover, managing at a fast food chain, and it definitely was a toxic environment for me. So that's sort of where it started. But the crazy thing was that things sort of started shifting around when I was promoted to become a restaurant manager, and then started being an area manager, where I was managing 11 stores that were making $2.5 to $3 million a year in terms of revenue, with 50 to 70 staff members per store. So I learned really fast how to deal with people and how to manage my time. Then from there, the thing that really changed my life around was when I actually met my personal trainer. And overnight, I decided that I wanted to do 3 sessions a week with her. She really looked after me, and I lost 40 kilos, I think, over 2 years, because I had some crazy issues in terms of my relationship with food and all of these other things. So there was sort of like a yo-yo thing that was in there. And I guess the reason why I'm so passionate about helping personal trainers now is because she inspired me over those 2 years to become the best version of me, become a personal trainer. Then from there, I worked on cruise ships, got into NLP, And, you know, we can go off in a tangent about cruise ships in a second. But, you know, got into NLP, got into sales coaching, got into business coaching. And I firmly believe that if I wasn't inspired by her, by Dale, my personal trainer, then I would be in a completely different path right now. And the funny thing is that she now has fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue because she didn't know how to look after her business well enough. And so it comes from necessity, it comes from pain that personal trainers out there can do so much and really unlock the potentials of people, but they don't know how to look after themselves. And so they end up, you know, burning out, going through chronic fatigue, hating what they're doing, end up working in a supplement store, working and making $30,000 a year when they actually have clients like me that, you know, have figured out what they want to do for the rest of their life and making multiple six figures. So, you know, that's really why I'm so passionate about it. And on the flip side of that, I'm also really passionate about it because if it wasn't for my personal trainer, I believe that there are hundreds, if not thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that are in the same situation as me. And if they didn't know how to run the businesses well enough, they wouldn't have the ability to influence and impact those type of people. And then they're left in the dark, not believing in themselves. So there's really two major reasons why I do what I do and what my background is. Number one, because I came from a weight loss background and became personal trainer as well. And I want others to actually feel that growth and that change. And number two, because my PT really helped me out and I want to give back. So that's pretty much what my background is.
And that's an amazing story. It's a very inspirational story, especially coming from where you come from and doing what you're doing now. It's amazing. And we both, again, touching on the cruise ship thing, we both obviously went through the same process, the same basically melting pot. And one thing I need to say is that the amount of people that are inspirational and are doing something so out of the box at the moment because of that experience, like our entire class, well, the people that went through that whole process at the same time have turned out into being individuals that are now doing, like, running their own businesses, becoming their own, like, just doing stuff that's so out of the box.
Isn't it great?
And it's amazing, because when I look back at it now, at that point in time, nobody thought that's what would happen because of that. we thought we would go on a cruise ship and travel for a few years, right? And I feel like it was such an intense moment for me. It didn't allow me to then revert back to the normal way of doing things. And how was that for you? How was that process?
Both loved it. Actually, no, I loved the whole entire process, to be honest with you. From going into the UK and you know, being up and hustling hard for 60 to 70 hours a week in the training, and you thinking that you're actually going to get some rest when you get on the ship, when it's the complete opposite. It intensifies even more. You know, I was on the Norwegian Epic for about, for actually quite a long time. I think it was like 7 months or so. I'm not too sure. But at the time, I was like, what the hell am I doing working 70 hours a week? Only having one day off every 3 weeks. But that really taught me resilience. In that experience, I learned how to sell and how to sell damn well. I'd have people walking away with $10,000 packages. I went from, you know, not making any sales at all whatsoever to being in the top 3 consistently every single week of the whole entire Norwegian cruise line. And I had directors actually going, who the hell is this Mario guy? So I learned that. I learned resilience. I learned how to party.
How to party.
And, dude, the crew bar goes crazy, especially with the Jamaicans. Oh, man.
Oh, I know.
We had 1,700 crew members in there. That crew bar every single night just goes off. And that's where I actually started becoming passionate about doing so much more than what you believe you're told to do, because that I think at the time was when I really dug deep into Tony Robbins. Don't get me wrong, I used to see Tony Robbins on TV when I was 15, and I was like, who the hell is that guy? Like, I felt like a badass, staying up late past 9 o'clock and then seeing the infomercials. But I didn't really notice him then. But when I went on cruise ships, when my friends gave me his iPod that had almost every single Tony Robbins course in there, I fell in love. I fell in love with personal development. I fell in love with influence. I fell in love with the science of language and all these things that he was talking about, that I sort of really just saw limitless possibilities. So loved the whole entire experience. Some didn't really enjoy, but it was all learning. And so I'm so grateful for that whole entire thing. If I think that that really was a massive catapult to where I am right now.
And look, I 100% agree. There's definitely no negative experiences, just learning ones. And that was a massive learning experience for me. Again, it taught me resilience, it taught me hustle, it taught me what hard work actually looked like. Because I thought I knew how to work hard until I had to learn real quick about things. I had to change my basically had to change my personality as well as my tendencies that I had prior. And yeah, there's work, and then there's that level of work.
It humbles you hard.
It humbles you hard. It teaches you hustle. You come back to reality and your level of work. So we were talking about this before. What do I do now in my day? I work a full-time job, and then I come home and I do this.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like work. It doesn't seem like anything extra, because I have been up at 4 a.m. learning seminars. Like, there's a different level to it. Now
that's it,
man, like, it's insane. But in saying that, you talked about personal development, and that's key. That was something I also learned during that experience. Was the personal development side of things is so important. It helps you grow. And I don't know who said it, can't remember, but like the same mind that got you into a problem can't get you out of it. You need to grow.
That's exactly it.
Like, and you mentioned Tony Robbins, and off tangent, have you watched that thing on Netflix, I Am Not Your Guru?
Dude, watched it like 5 times. And you know what, actually, this is what I find interesting. I look at it because I look at it in the lens. The first time I was so inspired, but the second time I looked at it in the lens of an NLP practitioner. And then the third time I looked at it in the lens of a marketer. Now, this is what's really interesting. As an NLP practitioner, one of the biggest things that everyone needs to understand, it looked mysterious of what Tony actually did, but that was just, what's really important is people to know that was just the surface of it all. And the second thing that people need to know is that every single one that he actually did was either removing anchors and replacing new ones, or actually just interrupting patterns. And that's really how every single person needs to work. Every single person has a pattern. We all have the ability to help interrupt it and replace new ones. It's nothing complicated. What Tony does is nothing complicated. You just need to learn how to do it. Just as much as someone looks at, the Olympic lifters doing snatches and clean and jerks. Once you get it, you get it. And same goes for that. And number 2, in terms of the marketing aspect of it, that was genius. It totally shows how much marketing has changed into the information and the providing value age, where he's given us so much and giving us a glimpse of Date with Destiny, so much so that Date with Destiny, I'm pretty sure in the US, has now been sold out for the next 5 years.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like what Tony Robbins has been able to do is amazing. And again, anybody that doesn't know who Tony Robbins is, you've been living under a rock, obviously.
I highly doubt that anyone who's
listening to this podcast doesn't know who Tony Robbins is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, just unsubscribe. Just unsubscribe. Please, for my sake, it'll make it a lot easier. But yeah, that's definitely a resource that I feel like a lot of people can capitalize on. Tony Robbins just gives so much value, and I'll leave some links in the show notes for sure. But now, Mario, moving forward, your whole business, your whole business is around obviously helping other people succeed.
Yeah.
Now, what is who are some people that you're working with at the moment, and how are you changing? You don't have to mention names, but how are
Yeah.
you changing the way they do things so that they can become more successful?
Dude, there's a few people that I've been working with. There's actually some heavy hitters that I've been really blessed working with in the strength and conditioning field and in the CrossFit arena. And both, there's a reason why I actually focus on both. As an example, if any of you guys know who Ben Garrard is, I've been working with him and his business. In fact, his girlfriend is really the badass in the business. Lizzie, if you're listening to this, you're amazing. But one of
Shut
the
up.
yeah, but one of the biggest things that I focus on, actually, the things that I actually focus on are the fundamentals of business, and because I think there's been this romanticization of funnels and marketing and ads and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but the reality is that yes, I can teach that, and yes, I get people results on that, and it's not a difficult your niche and you don't understand them psychologically at such a deep level, then all of your offer, your business model and everything else, whatever it is that you're marketing, is going to be shit. At the end of the day, the things that I focus on is, number one, understanding who the hell it is that you're serving. If you get that, you will absolutely nail exactly what your offer is, which leads me to point number two. When you know who you need to serve, you then figure out what it is that they want. Remove what you think is going to be good, look at what it is that they want, and figure out the deepest outcomes that they want to achieve, both tangible and intangible, whether it be to lose weight or lift heavier things or look absolutely amazing. And then at an unconscious level, what are the emotions? What are the feelings? How will that actually lead them into bliss? And once you get that, then you can create your signature system. And then in the signature system, that's where we then focus on your delivery, we focus on leverage, we focus on the tactics, so that we can then get the marketing going. And the thing that I think I really want to emphasize right now, if you're a personal trainer, be really damn good at being able to get results. That's where you need to start first. Don't think about ClickFunnels. Don't think about Facebook marketing. Don't think about pixels and remarketing and all of these things. If you cannot deliver incredible results time and time again and have the system for it, then please go back to basics, sell your friends, sell your parents into your program, figure out how to make that shit work, then actually try to leverage. Otherwise, you're going to be known as the world's worst personal trainer fast.
And that was part one of my interview with Mario Paguio. Again, we go way back. We've known each other for a lot of years through a lot of businesses, and he's a beast, guys. He's a beast. If you feel the same way, make sure you check him out on all his social in the short description below, or show notes as we call it in the industry. And yeah, guys, thank you for subscribing to the Fit Pro podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you do. It's easy to do. Just go to the website, you can subscribe to it. Boom. Nice short plug for you there. And guys, I will be in Bali from Sunday, but I will keep some posts coming through. I will keep the podcast rolling. I'll schedule some in so that they automatically come out like a good little host. I'd like to do a last public service announcement. I'd like to do a giveaway. I really want to run a giveaway. I've been trying to put it together for a long time. And you've got 4 options. Make sure you're on Twitter at FitProPodcast, and you got 4 options. Let me know. You either A, want a Universal Visa voucher worth $100. You either B, want a supplement stack because you're a gym junkie. You either C, want some apparel from Alpha State Apparel. I'll hook you up with some apparel. Or you want D, a bit of everything. Let me know on Twitter at FitProPodcast, and I am out. Peace.